Imagine you have a great idea for a new product, but you're not sure if people would buy it. This is where testing ideas comes in. Concept testing is like putting your idea through a trial run, so you can get feedback from real people before you spend time and money making the real product. It's like asking your friends if they want to buy your homemade cookies before you spend hours making them. By testing your idea, you can make sure it's a good one before you go all in. Before releasing a product or service, you can test your ideas by asking clients what they think about them. Concept testing is the name for this method of research, so you can find out if your customers will accept and buy your product and make important decisions before the launch. In this video, we'll talk about the benefits of concept testing and the different ways to do it. Why testing ideas is a good thing. When I come up with a new feature or idea for a product, I always think it will do well. But that's not usually the case. Customers are the only ones who can tell if a business idea will work or not. Because of this, it's important to test your ideas and concepts before you share them with your target audience. Concept testing will give you information that will help you make products that sell well. Concept testing is another way to get a full picture of all the different parts of your idea. You can ask about a certain feature, how it looks and feels, how much it costs, and more. So, before putting the product on the market, you can make sure that everything is correct. Businesses and other groups use surveys to test ideas, which makes them easy for brands of all sizes to use. In the next section, we'll talk about different ways to test a concept. Ways to try out an idea. Researchers have made and used a lot of different ways to test ideas over the years. These ways are put together based on how the ideas are shown. All of these ways are good for different kinds of study. With the help of a research platform, it's easy to test ideas. Here are the 4 most common ways to test a concept. 1. Compare and contrast. In comparison testing, the respondents are shown 2 or more ideas. In order to compare these ideas, the respondents rate or rank them, or they may be asked to choose the best idea being shown. Comparison tests give results that are clear and easy to understand. It's easy to figure out which idea wins, but the results are taken out of context. It is impossible to figure out why the people who answered the survey liked one idea more than others. Before a product can be released successfully, it's important to know these things. 2. Tests for monads. In a monadic test, the people who are being tested are put into many different groups. Each group can only understand one idea at a time. These tests focus on how well you understand a single idea. Most of the time, a monadic test survey is short and has a narrow focus. Since every group of respondents has the same idea, the survey can be very detailed without being too long. Researchers may ask follow-up questions about a concept's many parts, such as what they liked about it, how it looked and felt, how much it cost, etc., even though each group only looks at one idea at a time. The follow-up questions for each idea will be the same. Short, one-time only tests let researchers follow up with a wide range of questions. As a result, the findings make it easier to understand why one thought is better than another. To run a monadic test, though, you need a big sample size because the population you want to test is split into several groups. Because different ideas need to be tried out, the sample size is more important. Costs of research go up a lot when sample sizes get bigger. 3. Sequential monadic testing. In sequential monadic tests, the target audience is split up into different groups, just like in the monadic test. Still, each group is taught all of the ideas, not just one at a time. The ideas are presented in a random order to avoid bias in the research. For each idea, the same set of follow-up questions are asked to get more information from the respondents. A sequential monadic test only needs a small group of respondents because each group sees every idea. Several ideas may be put to the test in a single round. Because of this, sequential monadic tests are easier to set up and cost less. This concept testing method works well when there isn't a lot of money for research or when there aren't many people to study. Still, the questionnaire is very long because each set of respondents has to be told about all the topics. This could lead to non-response bias and change the rate of people who finish the survey. Researchers can shorten the questionnaire by putting a limit on the number of questions. Still, this affects how well the information was gathered. Sequential monadic testing can also be affected by other kinds of bias, like interaction bias and order bias. 4. Putting proto-monadic to the test. A comparison test comes after a series of monadic tests. This is what makes up a proto-monadic test. Here, people are asked to rank a number of ideas before picking the one they like best. This design can be used to confirm the results of the sequential monadic tests. Researchers might check to see if the idea chosen for the comparison test fits with the information they have gathered about each proposal. Once you've decided which method to use, you'll need to make a survey to test it. The best results come from making a poll and then using a block randomizer in the right way. In the next section, we'll talk about the criteria and suggested steps for making a successful concept testing survey. Making surveys and trying out ideas to test ideas, people use web surveys. The survey should be set up to find out how people feel about your ideas or theories. The results of these polls are then used to figure out if customers like or dislike your idea. Here are some tips to help you make a good survey for testing your ideas. 1. Say what the goals of the survey are. Setting a broad goal for your survey can make it easier to come up with questions that will help you find out useful information about your idea. It is beneficial to consider the test's true purpose as well as the specific information you hope to discover from your clients. So you can make a survey with relevant questions and find out useful things about what your customers think. 2. A standard way to make a survey. It's always a good idea to group questions that are similar by putting them in blocks. Blocks in surveys make it easier for people to fill them out and help you keep track of how they flow. If there are no outside distractions, people can easily focus on one part of your idea and give clear and helpful feedback. 3. Likeart scales. Likeart scales are a type of rating scale that usually have between 5 and 7 possible answers and are set up in an odd number of steps. You can ask people to rate their opinions on a 5 or 7-point Likeart scale, from strongly agree to strongly disagree, by including questions with this format in your survey. If you use Likeart scale questions, your survey will have a more consistent look, and it will be easier for people to answer. Also, Likeart scales make it easier to figure out what the data means. 4. Add pictures. People say, "A picture is worth 1,000 words." This idiom is used when you want people to comment on something they see. Logo testing is a good example of a time when it makes sense to use pictures instead of words. Your respondents can look at different ideas for your logo and vote for the one they like best. This gets rid of any bias and makes it easy to understand the results. 5. A few issues with the population. Demographic questions must be in your survey to make sure that the people who answer are in your target audience. Some people might not like your idea, but that might not mean anything about the idea itself. Instead, it's possible that the person who answers isn't one of your customers and doesn't want your goods. You need to ask demographic survey questions to make sure that your idea will work for your ideal customers. Now that you know how to make a useful concept testing survey, let's look at some ways to use concept testing. Testing of conceptual use cases. Here are some of the most common ways that concept testing is used. Making a product. When making new products, businesses often use concept testing to help them decide what to do. You can find out what features customers like and which ones you should skip. You can also find out what problems users have with the way things work now. By doing usability testing surveys and testing ideas, you can find out what your target market wants, make any changes you need to, and successfully launch your product. If you want to save time and test product ideas, use one of our professionally made survey templates. New homepage design. It can be hard to change the homepage of your website. Most SaaS and e-commerce companies' first point of contact with potential customers is their homepage. Because of this, you need to be careful when you rebuild your website. Concept testing lets you show your designs to real people who will use them and give you feedback. With these results, you may be able to fix design problems and get ready for a successful launch. Using our website feedback tool and the steps below, you can make a survey to test your homepage. An experimental logo. Your logo is an important part of the brand of your business. Usually, it's the first thing people notice about your business. So, when making a new logo, it's important to think about how customers will react and how your business will look. Idea testing is a great way to try out different ideas and come up with a logo that will appeal to your target audience. Costs and deals. Concept testing is helpful when you want to change how you price a new product or offer discounts on it. It's important to see how your clients react at first and figure out what benefits and features will get their attention. You could do a concept test on your upgrade pages or discount offers to see if your customers are interested. The Monadic test design can be used for your price study. Test ads. People often try out different combinations of internet ads, banners, and graphics to find the best one. Idea testing can show which ads get the most attention or make the most sales. You can trust the feedback because it comes straight from customers. You can use it to help shape your advertising and marketing strategy.